Hello and welcome to the leadership series hosted by Njvclc. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. My name is Brenda Guntur and I am a member of the NJ Visionary Cyber Leo Club. A big part of the Leo Club is leadership. Today we will discuss inclusion. First introducing Otis, the leadership chairperson and member of the New Jersey Visionary Cyber Leo Club.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Leo Brenda, for hosting this session, which today, as you said, is on inclusion, something that's very important when we're talking about leadership. I think that through Lions Club and Leo Club, we found that in our international theme this year is united in kindness and diversity. So understanding how we can include people of different abilities, different races, different backgrounds in our service is so critical to understanding the mission of Lions Clubs International. First of all, welcome to all of you, and I think I'll keep my comments brief. We have a great speaker who Leo Brenda is going to introduce in a short while. But if you are interested in claiming your attendance certificate, your certificate for attending today's session, you can register that at the link that'll be scrolling at various times at the bottom of the screen. It's right there, bit.ly/lead attendance. Please go there. Within a few hours after the session, we'd like to send them out as quickly as possible to our attendees. I think I'll just speak very briefly today about leadership, about what's going on in the world. I think that we've seen in the past couple months that there is still a need for Lions Clubs International. I think that our service has been so limited because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Many clubs are not able to meet and do the service that they want to be able to achieve. I think we're seeing in Texas and here in the United States that there is such a great need. And where there is a need, there's a line. So I think that we all need to rise to the occasion. I think this has served as a reminder for us that we need to be there for our communities when they need us the most. I think that's what we want to empower you all to do. Take those leadership skills back to your own club, back to your own district and country, so that you can use those to lead with a vision and make your community the best that it can be.
Thank you, Otis. That was very illuminating. Next, introducing Lion Phil Nathan. Phil Nathan of South Woodham Ferrers, England, was elected to serve a 2-year term as director of the International Association of Lions Club at the association's 82nd International Convention, held in San Diego, California, USA, June 28 through July 2nd, 1999. Past director Nathan is a stockbroker and director of a company, a Lion since 1982, and a charter member of the South Woodham Ferrers Lion Club since 1989. Past director Nathan has held many offices within the association, including club president, zone chair, region chair, campaign site first, group coordinator, district governor and council chair. In addition, he has served as district and multiple district Leo Club chairperson, multiple district youth chairperson, and youth outreach officer, deputy chairperson of Europa Forum, Europe West Area Impact Team Leader, and board appointee. He also served as Europa Forum president in 2006. In recognition of his service to the association, past director Nathan has received numerous awards, including 200% Club President Awards, the 100% District Governor Award, 2 International President's Leadership Award, 3 International President's Certificates of Appreciation, 7 International President Awards, and the Ambassador of Goodwill Award, which is the highest honor the association bestows upon its members. He is also a membership key holder and a Burt Mason Humanitarian Award recipient, and a Progressive Melvin Jones Fellow. In addition to his line activities, past director Nathan is active in numerous professional and community organizations. He is a fellow of Securities and Investment Institute, a member of the Institute of Directors, a charity steward of the Stock Exchange Veterans, a board member of the Stock Exchange Benevolent Fund, chairman of the board of Medical Alert Foundation, and a freeman of the City of London. He currently holds trustee status on 6 different boards of trustees for registered charitable trusts. In 2001, he was recognized by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II with an MBE, membership of the British Empire. Past director Nathan's wife, Heidi Ann, is also a Lion.
Wow. Brenda, thank you very much for that introduction. I actually have always been a huge fan. A lot of people know of Leo's. I've been very involved with Leo's most of my Lions career. Since the story that you've just read about me, a lot of things have happened. Unfortunately, the club closed because I moved from the area, and I started a new club, which I'll probably, if we have time, I'll talk about near the end. It's called the Centennial 100 Champions, and that's because we've inducted some Special Olympics athletes into the membership, and that's inclusion, which is why we might come back to that. But I wanted to tell you a story. I really didn't know what to tell you, but I thought I'll tell you a story about integrity and what happens in the worst case scenario if you do not have inclusion. When I worked with Leos almost full time, yeah, I remember the leadership experience opportunity. A lot of my Leos used it as let's enjoy ourselves as well, which was pretty cool. Let's go back a long time, a very long time. And it's why we need Leos to take the leadership that OJ's just talked about. It's why we need Leos for the future. I don't like talking about Leos as the future. I think Leos are now, and I consider the Leo movement as partners of Lions. You do things differently because you're younger, and sometimes you're doing it more appropriately. So let me go back to a really nasty time. There'd been a terrible, terrible war in the middle of Europe. I, as a Lion, ended up taking a big group of people. I must have been slightly mental in those days because it was a fairly dangerous time. Well, we took a lot of humanitarian aid into refugee camps. There were no Leos there because there was hardly any Lions there because the country had been at war for some years, surrounding countries as well. So we delivered a lot of humanitarian aid, a huge amount of money. And you mentioned LCIF earlier, and I'm so pleased that you're proud of LCIF because for the career of my Lions life, LCIF have always been there for me and for many of the things I've undertaken. A lot of what I've done is probably on an out-of-date webpage of mine, PID Phil. I think that, so the story that I'll just briefly tell you is I'd gone to, with the support of LCIF, to go with a professor, pediatrician, to see what we could do about rebuilding a pediatric intensive care unit because babies and children were dying because there was no care after this war. And I ended up in the city, having been asked to go to a meeting with somebody called Sir Martin Garud. And he'd been put in charge from the whole of Europe into try and resolve the mess after the war. So he's a very powerful man. I'd been with the British ambassador in a city about a 3-hour drive away. So my best friend, and still today in this particular country, said we have a long journey. And the professor came with us. And it took us 6 hours on the journey, mainly because of the damage to the roads, because of the bombing and because of the tank shells. It was a fairly dire time. And we got to the area and we went to the hotel where Sir Martin was the headquarters. And as we went through the soldier enclave, the security was absolutely unbelievable. It's quite scary. But I remember it today like it was yesterday. So we were led through various security areas, checked all the time, to the hotel where we went up the stairs. We didn't use elevators or lifts because of the dangers of anything going wrong with electricity and anything happening. So after 3 floors, we arrived in this office, and as we went in, the professor and my friend and myself. And Sir Martin turned round and he came across and he shook my hand. He said, "Thank you so much for coming. I've been reading about this project that you're doing. It is so desperately needed here. The babies and children have nothing modern. They have no life-saving equipment, and we are unable to operate on many of them. In the hospitals themselves are severely damaged." The thing is, I'd gone to do one hospital in pediatric intensive care unit in one area. This is where we come to inclusion and diversity. The ethnic divide was still so strong, we couldn't build the one hospital because there was a bridge, and either side were still different factions. We ended up having to build 2 pediatric intensive care units, which cost a not inconsiderable amount of money. But the equipment was reaching into $1 million type of equipment, life-saving for babies. And Sir Martin said, "Thank you for what you're doing." He said, "I've got some really good news for you. I'm going to give you a grant, offer you a grant today of the currency being used was a Deutschmark, which was a German currency, but it was what was used as to balance all of the economies at that time. He said, we're going to give you a grant of 250,000 Deutschmarks. It's a lot of money." I said, "Well, that's fantastic." And the professor was absolutely delighted. He said, "The only thing is that you've got to spend this money on the West. So the bridge of the West and the East." I said, I can't do that." He said, "Well, Mr. Nathan, you've got 250,000 Deutschmarks to spend on a children's hospital. Just have to spend it on the West. You'll have to raise some other funds to work on the East." I said, I'm very sorry, I can't accept your funding." The professor said, well, we need this funding." I said, "Well, I can't accept the money. I represent an organization called Lions Clubs International. We don't talk ethnicity, we don't talk color, we don't talk race, we don't talk politics, we don't talk religion. We're the largest voluntary service organization in the world. And we work as one platform, and we wear the same pin in every country." He studied, he said, I don't know what to say, but we have nothing more to say today." We stood, he shook my hand, and we took the 6-hour drive back home. The professor was very despondent. So I'll speed the story that 3 days later, the British ambassador contacted us in the city we were stopping. He said, "Sir Martin Garwood wants to see you again." That's a long journey. So you remember the journey, it was 6 hours. As we get there, there's lots of police, lots of soldiers, and up and down the stairs and through the security. So we did that. And as I went into the office, Sir Martin stood. He said, "I've done a lot of research about Lions Clubs International. Amazing organization." I said, "Well, it is, yes, but these are not really our conditions." He said, "But without an organization like you coming at this time, who is there to do humanitarian aid and help the children that have got nothing?" Well, he said, "We've withdrawn that offer of the Deutschmark, and I've been speaking to the superiors in Europe. And today I'm going to award you a grant from the European Union, 400,000 euros. Wow. It's a lot more than I would offered. He said, "Mr. Nathan, you can use this on the East and the West." So I'll end that story there, but simply tell you one thing. Never forget the power of integrity, because integrity of Lions eventually saved a lot of children's and babies' lives. And this is why we need Leos, because we can't return to those conditions. We need inclusion. We have to have diversity to survive. It's not the sort of lesson you were expecting today, but this is a truth. This happened. We can't go back to those dark days, but they happen all around the world today. So let me come forward really fast to today. So I was heartbroken that the club I started had run for 25 years and it closed because I wasn't there anymore. And they said it was your club, and I was furious. I said, it's not my club, it's our club. But I now live 35 miles away, and so I started a new club. And I told you the name, Centennial 100 Champions. Champions means we will be alleged to support Special Olympics. So the club is in its 4th year, and recently, speaking with Vice President Brian Sheehan, what a great leader, he said, why don't we do something special? Because you've said that you're going to bring some Special Olympics people into the club. I said, yeah. Well, we badged up 6 Special Olympians. Some of them are gold medalists. One of them has 6 gold medals from 2 World Games. That's serious stuff. She was badged up by Gudrun Ingvidottir when she was president. The other 5 were badged up by Brian Sheehan, Zoom, in a virtual meeting. Wow. I think it was all a bit overawing for the new members. But what I've learned is the mistakes I've made, because we need to mentor. And I've actually just been speaking, even today, about these incredible young people that are now members of my home club. They can do just the same as anybody else, and they do many things a lot better. That's inclusion, because that's a Lions club that has a full membership of people that represent the world. I spoke about my club and what's happening to a USA meeting last night. It was 1 o'clock in the morning for me, but I was talking to them and I said that this is happening. And first Vice District Governor on the line said, my ambition is to start 4 clubs with Special Olympics as members. I said, use the word champions, because champions was given us as a gift by Special Olympics to us. So Leos, I've given you a very diverse inclusion story, both ends of the spectre. I'd love some questions if you have any. I believe so much in what our organization does. Incidentally, the work that we were doing all those years ago with the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, LCIF shot a video. And proudly, doctors have been interviewed, and they've said that thousands of babies have been saved. Thousands of babies' lives have been saved. Why? Because of Lions, because of Leos, because of LCIF. Never forget the power of our association when we work as one. Diversity working together. Go from strength to strength, Leos. You are the integral part of our partnership. I look forward to the future with you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lion Phil, for the informative and inspiring words. I learned a lot through your experiences and the importance of inclusion, standing up for what you believe in. That is such a really good, important skill to have. But I have some questions for you. Um, what would you encourage other people to do to build their experiences like yours, like through, just trying to stand up for what they believe in? Because not
Well,
many people have a lot of confidence in it.
yeah, stand up for what you believe in. You must always do that. But for God's sake, don't go to a war zone like I did. um, yeah, I used one word in all of my life, in my career, is integrity. If you maintain your integrity, then people trust you. They trust in you. They trust if you say you're going to do something, that you do it. And I think that in all of my career life, when I trained young people coming through, I always said that integrity is vital. In actual fact, the business that I was in, we had a Latin motto called Dictum Meum Pactum. Dictum Meum Pactum means my word is my bond. So if I make a promise to somebody, it's a promise that you keep.
I completely agree with you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have some more questions?
I think that while everyone's getting their questions ready, I think that we have a little bit of a delay between when they're actually seeing this and when we're saying it. But I think on what Lion Guia from the Philippines was saying, can you reflect on your Lion's experience? Maybe the work that you did as international director. What's the highlight of your Lion's experience?
Oof. Highlight. I'm afraid that I could write a book. But if I pick up some of the things that have been, I have the proud opportunity of working for the association in probably what we might call some newer countries for Lions clubs. I'm really pleased to say that I was appointed as a coordinator of something like 19 to 20 countries across Central and Eastern Europe. And I did that, and we built up a very strong network and putting a country coordinator into each country. And I don't do that now because the world of GAP came along. But I do now still look after as a country advisor. The official title is country coordinator. Terrible war in the middle. I stopped coordinator because some of these countries have been coordinated for hundreds of years. And I don't like them being coordinated. I like working with them and advising them. So as country advisor, I now work for the Bosnia and Herzegovina, Republic of Serbia. So I have two. And this year I was asked if I could work with my friend Amin Hatcher, Lebanon, and we're working together to build Lionism in the Republic of Iraq. So that's very diverse from Europe and Iraq. I don't have the power of language in Iraq, but working with Amin, we're slowly working there to start trying to build new Lions clubs. So in Central and East Europe, I've been able to work with many countries. In actual fact, I'm working now with some colleagues and LCI, and we are going to do the very first virtual RLLI and with simultaneous translation. And that's wow, because the language will be for Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro, and the presentations will be in English with simultaneous translation to a similar language to each country, so it works. Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, Montenegro. So that's going to take a lot longer than a normal RLLI. We'll do it over 2 to 3 weekends. But that's great because that's new countries that want to learn all about Lions, which will include LCIF, and it will include the power of giving to the community. I've done some wonderful work, and you mentioned PPE. We've done some amazing work with PPE in those countries because LCIF gave emergency grants for PPE. So it's been quite incredible to work with LCIF and work with these new countries and actually help the peoples of these countries during these awful COVID times.
Thank you. We have another question. What is the best way for Leos to get involved with the Special Olympics?
So easy. Special Olympics absolutely idolized the Leo movement. And since some of the countries I've just mentioned to you, Leo movement has started growing. In Serbia, I work with some of the most amazing Leos, which obviously weren't there many years ago, but now. So Leos in those countries, when I visit, we always ask Special Olympics to come to an event, and we introduce Leos lines, and they love working with Leos because in actual fact, they want to develop the program of inclusion because of the refugees there are in the world, and include them into the games and the supporting of Special Olympics. So get your Lions to arrange meetings, or indeed arrange them yourself. I, as a Lion, the refugees there are in the world, and include them into the games and the supporting of Special Olympics.
Thank you very much. I want to turn this back to Ojis.
All right, thank you so much, PID Phil. Your words of encouragement, your words of wisdom have been so valuable for all of us. And I think that in the future, if any of you want to contact PID Phil, he's so active on Facebook and all the other social media. I think he's going to, if you reach out to him, he'll give you so much more insight than we can fit in this 30-minute session. I think, once again, thank you so much, PID Phil. He was so enthusiastic in joining us, and I think the time difference for him is about 5 hours. So I think thank you for taking the time out of your day.
I have a wonderful story that you can use sometime. It's recorded now, and it's when I went to Albania and we did a vision screening with the Leos. We did 7,200 vision screenings. You ought to show that to your Leos one day.
I think that we will. I think I'll take you up on that offer. I'd just like to remind you all again that the link to claim your attendance certificate is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I'd also like to spotlight what else was going on the bottom of the screen. Our episode for next week, I think our 18th episode, we're going to be covering again the topic of diversity, featuring Lion Carl Shaw, a member of the Bellefonte Lions Club in District 22D, which is in Delaware. Pretty close to ours, but we're going to be celebrating Black History Month. Lion Carl, he has a very unique history within Lionism that you'll come to know during the episode, and he's been working very much to help to bridge some of the cultural divides that we've had in Lionism in the United States. In some parts of the United States, there are a troubled history of Lionism, which Lion Carl is working to undo. I think that you'll be very interested to see what that episode has in store. Lion Carl has been working very hard to recruit Lions Club members, African-American community leaders within that community, to bring them into our organization. I think that hearing from him will be thank PID Phil, Leo Brinda, and all of you for joining us once again. And I hope to see you all next week.
Yeah, thank you, Ojis. And I really believe that today's session was really informative and really inspiring. So thank you for that. I hope to see everyone again in our next session.
Thank you.